You don't just flip off what he is saying. Do you think that this is actually something that they're going to try to attempt, and should they?
No. I mean, Bannon has no formal involvement with the Trump White House, and if you look at all the stories, the White House...
All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. So in this clip, we're going to watch Abby Phillip, Scott Jennings, and the rest on CNN. Newsnight with Abby Phillip on CNN saying that, talking about Trump and this third term. Steve Bannon was feeling excited and said something about the will of the people, something with the third term with Trump. And I keep saying something about, because this is not really the discussion right now, okay? Like, we just got 1 year in, okay? Everybody calm down. I will say, everybody calm down on both sides with this conversation. So anyway, we're going to watch Abby Phillips, Scott Jennings, and the rest on the panel talk about this situation with Trump wanting a third term. And you're going to get the real raw, feeling from me about this. I'm not here to sugarcoat things. All right, let's get into it.
Declined to comment. The White House rarely declines to comment. So this is him out on his own.
I would argue the White House response ought to be, no, the president is going to follow the Constitution. He will not be running for a third term.
No formal involvement.
I don't know.
With the White House.
I'm going to dispute this just a little bit. The weeks leading up to January 6th, Steve Bannon was saying all hell was going to break loose if Donald Trump was not necessarily, they didn't certify the results for Donald Trump. Look at what happened. We had an insurrection. Since then, and I mentioned...
I'm going to need people to stop using that term. I don't care. I don't. Okay? Joe Biden was president, guys. Nothing was insurrected. A bunch of people ended up, unfortunately, going to jail and stuff. Nothing changed, okay? So if that was an insurrection, then this country is way more cooked than I was maybe thinking it might be, okay? Stop it. If a bunch of people can just come from their homes with no weapons and insurrect the government, these words mean something, all right? I'm not here for hyperbole on both sides. I'm not. This woman, this is the second time. Who is this woman? Why do I keep running into her using these kind of words? That she's still afraid of that. It's January 6th, get over it. It happened. Nothing changed from it. Nothing changed. Get over it.
And as I will, as much as I can, is he has not only pardoned 1,600 people that are out on the loose and waiting for their orders. And when Steve Bannon says that Donald Trump is potentially going to serve another term, he is sending a signal not only to those 1,600 people that rioted and caused an insurrection at the Capitol, but all of MAGA. And so my hope is that we will have a Supreme Court that will end up stopping this. But I actually think that Steve Bannon truly believes that this is the case, and he is sending a signal to MAGA that Donald Trump should be the president of the United States in 2028.
Let me play.
So I want to know what the signal to MAGA looks like. Is it like this? Is it like the bat signal? Do we have the, you know what I mean? The Trump head with the light and it's going into the sky, and MAGA's gonna be like, oh, there he is, Trump, let's go. We have to do an insurrection. What is this? This tool is not paying attention to really what's going on with MAGA. MAGA is breaking apart, and not in a bad way either, by the way. There are a lot of people who were hardcore Trump based. Let's just put it that way. Everybody wants to make America great again. All right, pause that for a second. But there are a lot of people who are saying, hey, wait a second. What about those Epstein files? What's up with that? Why are we still getting involved in other countries while we got problems at home here? You're not, who is ICE? Things like that, right? So there isn't this strong base. There was a way more stronger base back in 2021. But right now there isn't. There's mostly the ones who will blindly follow, the ones I see on Twitter who are like, oh my God, Trump said this. Oh, he's so base. He's so funny. And it's you're not even thinking. You just must get paid to post like this or something. But a lot of people are wondering, I'm feeling a little left out. Now we got plans for Venezuela and all of that. So I don't know what this Trump bat signal she's talking about. This lady's somebody should check on her because she's really afraid of this MAGA under her bed, so okay.
You brought up the Supreme Court. I'm going to play for you what Amy Coney Barrett said in an interview recently when she was asked about this issue. Listen.
The 22nd Amendment says you can only run for office for 2 terms.
True.
You think that that's cut and dry?
Well, that's what the amendment says, right? After FDR had 4 terms, that's what that amendment says.
She sounds like someone who thinks that this will come before the court and doesn't explain more on the legal sort of underpinning of this.
Well, there's not much to explain. It's pretty clear. I mean, you can't.
I agree.
So I don't know why you would want to talk it to death.
Why do you think Steve Bannon keeps saying this, and that Trump keeps putting the 2028 hat on the desk and all that?
He keeps it in the on the hats and stuff because he's trolling his opponents, and he knows how crazy it drives them when he does these kinds of things. Bannon, I don't know. I don't know him personally. I don't know him well at all. Maybe he believes this. Maybe he doesn't. I just know what the Constitution says. I know what most Republicans would think about it, and I know what the Supreme Court would do about it. So I don't really think this is serious.
Just to get it on the record, Scott, if this came up and there was a real attempt to give Trump a 3rd term, would you be for it or against it?
I'm long on the record of opposing violating the 22nd Amendment to the Constitution.
This is kind of interesting. Maggie Haberman, she's covered Trump for a very long time, so she understands how this works. And she agrees with you on the trolling. She says he clearly enjoys knowing that it bothers Democrats that he says this, and there's a trolling aspect to it. But the thing with all of his trolls is they start out that way, like Canada is a 51st state, and then he socializes them. They take on a life of their own, or he breathes more life into them. I've covered Trump as well. She is right about that. Steve Bannon is not in the White House, but he's constantly speaking directly to Trump, to people around Trump. These things do take on a life of their own.
Before she talks to this woman, I just want to go back to, I'm sorry, but this conversation, it's just going to really look like Scott Jennings is winning. I'm not saying that whether he should or shouldn't. It's like this hysteria about this 3rd term. People who plan on doing a 3rd term don't talk about it out loud. Or let's put it that way, okay? If Trump had plans for that, he would be doing covert things where people would notice. Some people would still notice and say, hey, wait a second. He's like trying to set us up for like wars, even though we do have war issues. But it is still early to say like, oh, he's going to make himself a wartime president. People would notice certain executive orders or something. They would notice something and then would point, and then others would say you're crazy. But it would be more covert. You wouldn't be out here posting 2028, caps and stuff. He is trolling. It's not that deep. Like, seriously, this part is not that deep.
In Trump's own mind. And often that is all that is needed, the permission structure, to figure out one way or another how to make things happen.
I mean, they've already pretty much understood what the vulnerable points are when it comes to the institutions. As I continue to say, the institutions are only going to work if the people within them are willing to defend them. And considering that he put together this Supreme Court, and he did it for a very specific reason, because he knows the things that he tries to do that are outside the lines, that if it gets there, he understands that he has crafted the perfect scenario, and it's checkmate. And so, like, for people to take this seriously, I think we absolutely should. And I'm sorry, I don't understand this game that we play with him. Is like, oh, when he says things that are very dangerous, he's kidding. But then when he actually does it, it's like, oh, I guess he meant it. It's like, I'm not going to play the whole what does he mean game and, oh, he's just trolling, when he has shown time and again that he's very serious about the things that he says. Well, everything is a test.
Yeah.
And he's just going to continually see how far he can get with everything and just see how far he can go. And yeah, considering how hard it was to get him out of the White House before, why do we think that this would be any different? We see who he admires. He admires dictators. The dictators don't leave. So, like, why would we think that he was joking?
What does this say about?
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, guys. I'm coming off extra like hardcore Trump. I didn't even vote for Trump in 2024. I abstained my vote because I was like, dude. I looked around at who Trump was hanging around, and I said, damn, in the last minute, I cannot vote for this guy. This isn't going to work. It's not going to work this isn't the American way. The thing that I wanted, America first, is like, I'm not going to get it with Trump. I'm not voting. That said, in this clip, I sound like I did. Y'all, it was not hard to get rid of him. He left. It was a peaceful transition. There was a lot that happened like the week before. It was a peaceful transition, okay? Jabel, stop. You called men black black men, you said that toxic masculinity. Everything that comes out of Jamel's mouth, it just gets on my nerves, seriously. And then to say, oh, well, he crafted the Supreme Court that he wanted so he could do what he wants to do. Who wouldn't? What president who gets that opportunity doesn't do that? See, the thing is, like, you can't have complaint for one and not the other, the same complaint. Your values don't go across the board, okay? So, like, this is like, I don't do the, oh, I don't like Trump just because I don't like Trump. I'm sorry, I don't do that. Like, that's weak. Let's have some real arguments. If you want to talk about this third term thing, you can say, well, we haven't gotten there yet, but, you know, we really got to make sure that we stick with the Constitution and stuff. And people want to rile up their base. That's fine. Nobody's going to get worked up over here, but, you know, why don't we be mindful to, you know, certain points and decisions that he might make that may appear to seem like they're going that way, and we can ask our questions and just stay on top of it and be on guard. But to get hysterical about it now is an absolute waste of time, and it hands over the victory to him. That's it. Now instead we got to get into who he is. He likes dictators, and I admire some dictators. What the hell is going on? What is this? A checkbox? You got to be good checkbox? Like, this is what I mean about these fake people on these shows, man.
The support for like a J.D. Vance, who's widely seen as perhaps the next person in line, that someone like Steve Bannon continues to suggest that it's not going to be the next guy. It's not going to be Don Jr. or J.D. Vance. It has to be Trump. Let me just play a little bit more from this interview with The Economist where Bannon kind of expounds on that.
The only way President Trump wins in 2028 and continues to stay in office is by the will of the American people, okay? And the will of the American people is what the Constitution embodies. And so I think we're going to be in good hands there. We need to finish what we started. And President Trump is the instrument, a providential instrument to finish this job.
Lydia, if you're J.D. Vance, what are you thinking right now?
I think he thinks that Steve Bannon is trolling. I don't think he takes this seriously the way that we are at this table. That's just the reality.
And that's just the reality. Thank you to this young lady for saying that. If people want to get worked up over this topic, then that means that there's, you know what, maybe they're living good lives, and that's why this topic worries them. And you know what, God bless them for living good lives. Over here, I'm going to focus on the real things that's going on, not about if Trump is going to do the third term.